this time of year one and where we are currently. Jim, thank you for putting up the Donna link there. I think we're getting ourselves situated. I'm going to take off my shoes because my practice is more grounded without them, as I am in contact with the coolness or the warmth or the hardness or the softness of the earth. Let's see, we've got a few more people coming in. I'm going to also commit to checking right now to make sure that we're recording. Looks like we're good there. I hope you are all well. I do know that this is, of course, in any election, right? Any year of an election, there are increased tensions, there are increased feelings of uncertainty. People have been using words like groundless in our conversations about the practice. Too much change. Another thing I'm hearing, just too much happening so that we can't establish ourselves. And so our practices today are going to be touching in on a couple of qualities that I think may help solidify, ground us, anchor us a little bit. And of course, we know a few essentials, right? We know them. We've all been practicing long enough. We've got a few essentials landed. What are they? One is that the present moment is the only moment in which there can be any sense of groundedness. Just this one. And the present moment alone is not sufficient because the present moment, in fact, is always here and always available. So we actually have to arrive to greet the present moment. And to do so, we establish ourselves in awareness. We begin by pointing attention, by opening awareness, and then resting in that very awareness. And that moves us often, as we are going to practice today, from an experience or place of groundlessness, uncertainty, the worldly winds, moving us about and causing our distress. We're all saying that, aren't we? This is not good. This is causing my distress. In fact, it is not accurate. And I want to make sure that we don't get into externalizing the mind and our experience. It is the quality of your mind, the quality of your moving, groundless mind, that we can, once we recognize that this is the beauty of the practice, and when I count on myself, we can reacquaint, re-anchor, become friendly, rejoin, remember the truth of the refuge is always available to us in every moment. And we're going to practice some of those today because I think we're all needing. We also recognize the truth of suffering that is always here when we are lost, when we are caught in distraction or caught in the habits or conditioning of mind, the one that says, I can't be okay, this can't work out, I shouldn't be feeling like this, something's got to change. Are we going to be okay? In fact, we shoot off. Many of us are already in Tuesday and beyond, going, no matter what, it's going to be horrible. These are the kind of thoughts that I'm regularly hearing from people. And it is not our job to debate future moments or their possibilities or their vulnerabilities. It's not useful. It is to say, and so then, with the realities of impermanence, with the realities of uncertainty being every breath, with the realities of the moving mind, the discursive, wandering, narrating, ever catastrophizing mind, how do we live and how do we practice? And that's what we're going to be grounding in today. Infinite sources of refuge. We're just going to touch in on a few, but let's do that so that we can, once again, this moment, this very one, find our way. I'm letting in just a few more people who are waiting. And Carrie, I'm going to count on you, if you don't mind, to keep that participant box up for a minute, if you would, just so that we can let in whoever is wishing to be here practicing with us. I'm going to look at chat for a moment while we're hanging on. The Bardo work seems very appropriate, boy, doesn't it, in hindsight, since it was followed then by the pandemic. Yes, the resting in the Bardo, the in-between states, the intermediary states. And in fact, the way I defined the Bardo was the present moment, groundless and boundless. And we're going to see if we can't begin to move ourselves from that sense of the one, this groundlessness where we feel lost and fallen and ruined, really, to the boundless. Scattered beyond until this is over. Yeah, well, the good, bad news is it's never over. It's always going. We're just going to go into the next moment and the next, and it is no less or more uncertain, is it, than the one we are currently in. It is a myth and a delusion to believe that there are conditions that will stabilize us. This is one of our problems. It's not our solution. Once I get to here, I'll be okay. Once I get the partner, once I get the new car, once I get a better mood, once I have more of this and less of that, once I lose 10 pounds, once I get my facelift, we can go in all those directions. We cannot control the external conditions of anything except this heart mind sitting right here. This is the practice. And I rely on it 100%. And when I don't, I know the cause of my suffering. I know distinctly the cause of my suffering. It is my own discursive, my own narrating, my own self-clinging mind. And so we're going to take care of that, not condemn it, not be critical or judgmental, but say, so then come home, lost child. Come home, sweetheart. Come home, awakened and awakening one. Come home to this present moment in this body. The first noble truth, the truth of suffering. The second noble truth, the truth that there are causes and conditions to the cause of that suffering. The third noble truth, recognizing that where there is a cause, there is a way to its end, and that there is a path, this noble Eightfold Path, that will hold us, will carry us, will keep us in every and each moment. Thank you for being here to practice today. And so I had this very simple quote, and that is by Rilke. Ultimately, it is in, not on, in our own vulnerability that we depend. It is in our own humanness that we rely. It is in the truth of our interconnectedness that we can find the way to true happiness and freedom. And once we recognize ours, the beauty, of course, is that we can begin to recognize that suffering in all beings. And so with this, with these truths, we sit. So beginning by finding the refuge of the earth that is right here beneath you. We did a little earth element practice on Monday night, and we have that now on the website. Go look there. Earth and element practice, deeply grounding, rooting, stabilizing. Feel that sense of solidity, both in the earth itself and in your own body as it sits here. The very drawing of the earth, holding you close with gravity. Feel those contact points, the feet, the seat, maybe the hands as they rest in the lap or are holding each other, the weight of the body itself as it draws us to the earth with each out breath. It doesn't really matter the pleasant or unpleasant nature of the body, which is ever changing right here, ever moving, breath by breath. A new body, a new moment, a new breath. Can we begin to arrive completely here? And then with the in-breath, can we begin to feel the uplift, the inspiri, the energy, the vitality, the nourishment of the in-breath, another source of refuge, each one brand new, fresh, nothing old, nothing stuck, inviting us to this limitless potential, this present moment, with you in it completely. And then we, with joyful effort, begin to turn this attention towards this body and this breath as an anchor, a stabilizing source, an invitation to the present moment. Breathe it in. Invite it in completely by softening, opening the body. And then we recollect our aspirations for the practice. We recollect and remember the truth of this precious human life, the truth that it is accorded to few. It is already a gift, no matter how it is in appearance. Can we remember the possibilities in this very moment for love, for care, and for compassion as we open more deeply that courageous and compassionate heart? It requires both. This fiercely courageous and compassionate heart to the truth of our vulnerability. As well as to the truth of the resilience of the human heart, mind, and spirit. Can we rest in that wholeness? Commit ourselves fully to this practice today, practicing towards the end of suffering, towards complete freedom and happiness, and to do so in behalf of ourselves, our loved ones, those in need, and ultimately all beings, all beings, all beings, everywhere. Those who are skillful, those who are unskillful, those who are wholesome, those who are unwholesome. May we offer this without exception, omitting none, and in this refuge, freeing us all. Ultimately, it is in our vulnerability that we depend. It is in our very humanness, in the very capacity to awaken one of the very first refuges in the three jewels, remembering this capacity in each of us to awaken this moment, resting in our true nature. We can call on it any breath. And as we abide the present moment, we will see the truth of the Dharma, the truth of things, that there is no side, that there is no way, that there is no for or against at all, without separating ourselves, damaging ourselves, costing ourselves. And we can feel it, can't we? We cannot continue like this. We rest in the Dharma, the truth of this present moment. Here I am whole. Here I'm present. Here I can be open-hearted. And we breathe it so that we can live it. And then we sit right here, just like this, in this vast, embracing community of beings. We sit with all beings. Feel the truth of that as best you can. You are sitting here with all beings, past, present, and future. You are part of this immutable, unbreakable chain. And are a contribution. And with these infinite points of refuge all around us, we breathe them in and we settle it right here into the seat we have taken. There is no reaching out. There is the turning in to access all of this. Beginning here with the earth beneath us and the open space all around, and our commitment to stillness, our commitment to silence. Our commitment to this courageous and compassionate heart. And so let's sit for a few minutes, making contact with the breath. Making contact with those sources, infinite sources of refuge in this moment. Finding the body. Letting the whole body breathe. As we move from the body as a whole, we make contact with the truth of the breath, its continuous flow moving in and out of the body. I want you to see if you can begin to notice not only the movement of the breath, but where the breath settles in the body, each breath. And no matter where the breath moves, no matter whether it is long or short, smooth or jagged, no matter the quality of mind, restless, listless, distracted or unified, that the truth of the breath is it always comes home to a certain grounding point. And it's not a point that we think about, it's one that we can feel. Everything is born from this place and everything comes back to it, settles back into it. See if you can find where that is alive in your own body. And rest the mind there. Finding our way home in each breath. And see if you can get very familiar, very comfortable. See if you can come to know this place in the body intimately, deeply. This breath spot, this anapanya, a source of grounding and refuge, a home base, right here in our own bodies. No matter how else the body might be. Let it begin as a light touch, as an end and beginning point, just so that we can make contact. As we practice the bardos, this is resting in the bardo. We rest at the end of the out-breath. Once all breath and all movement has ceased, this is contact with the immovable. Right here in our own bodies. And we let the mind and one's attention rest there. And as we rest the mind and one's attention in this anapana, in this open, spacious, calm, centering point, we begin to allow the mind to take on the characteristics. We let it become more still, more calm, more grounded, more open. Just like that point. And one of the things you may begin to notice that where the attention goes, so goes the whole rest of the body mind. And so as we rest at the end of that out breath, see if you can't allow the whole body being to join with that stillness and silence. We begin to dissolve the barriers. To that ever-present stillness, that ever-present spaciousness. You may even begin to notice as you pour yourself into the truth of these qualities, that not only are they available at the end of the breath or the beginning of the breath, but they are completely available in the whole of the breath. We can feel the sense of stillness, silence, and spaciousness as we breathe in. We breathe right into it. We expand and extend the quality of mind right here to the end. And that point begins to become simply open space. That we can breathe into and we can settle into at the end of the out breath and the whole of the out breath. And now we are simply breathing in that vast open space of stillness and silence. We release into it on the out breath, opening, relaxing, expanding. And we breathe it to life on the in breath. Energized, available, and present. Remembering that we always have those base refuge available to us. We always have this earth. We always have the truth of this enlivened body, this present moment breath. Whenever we get carried away, caught up, hooked, gripped, we can come home right here. Resting in the uncertainty in the bardo, one breath at a time. The bardo simply open space. And as the mind begins to these characteristics, we notice we don't need the body and its solidity quite as much. We are resting in the stability of mind. Here we are ardent and resolute. We commit ourselves completely. Resting in the open space so that we can see the movements of the phenomenon, of the objects, of the thoughts. We can see the movements of sensations, of preferences, of opinions, but not be caught by them because we are not them. This is not us. I am not that. We're resting in our true home. And we begin to enter the present moment, breath at a time, a little bit more. The body softens. The mind is settling. And now clear seeing, sampajana. And the clear seeing is the reality that everything, all conditioned phenomenon, is simply coming and going. we remember there is no stability there. And we smile and settle back. And see if you can settle all the way back, watching for the habit to lean in, move forward. See if we can come back to that breath, the end of the out breath, and open wider. And as we see the movement of all things, we begin to recognize the truth of the cause of our suffering. It is not in the thing. It is in the grasping or the clinging, the trying to hold fast or hold steady to the thing. And there is no thing to hold us. But there is this open space, the bright light of love and awareness itself, where the mind opens, the heart opens. And we begin to feel for ourselves as we notice the cause of suffering. As we see the mind as it clings, as it grasps, as it resists, as it rejects, and we smile and settle back once again. Now, with that courageous and compassionate heart, we can begin to see clearly, gain insight into where we notice the hooks, where we get caught. If only this, why not that? We recognize and we release, coming right back to that breath, right back to the end of the out breath. Finding our way back into that open, vast, infinite, and luminous space that is our true home, the true qualities of our own awakened heart-mind. Remembering that every moment of recognition is a moment of liberation. We are once again free once again home, once again open and spacious, and we simply settle back. As we notice the habit of mind and no longer take it as me or mine, we continue to practice in the release, and we begin to feel first for ourselves, recognizing the cause of suffering. We begin to feel for ourselves. This is where the compassion is born. This is where we hold ourselves close. This is where we pour that love, that compassion into our own hearts, offering it to ourselves. This, the cause of suffering. This seeking, this gripping, this wanting, this clinging and craving. But I am not this. This is not me. I am not that. We simply unhook, release, smile at the new moment of liberation and come home once again. And as we rest in the infinite points of refuge all around, the earth element, the body itself, the breath, the open space, the qualities of that joyful endeavor, being ardent and resolute, our own commitment to the practice, to the truth of the Dharma, to the Sangha and the Buddha. We rest in our own open and awakened heart minds. And we begin to feel compassion for the truth of suffering. We see it clearly, breath by breath. The clinging, the resistance, the struggle. that causes our suffering, we begin to recognize that this too is the cause of suffering for others. And within that vast open space, we can hold not only ourselves, but begin to see the truth of suffering for others, which is identically the same. Their grip, their wish for security, their wish for solid ground, their wish to have it their way, their believed thoughts, their fears. And that awakened heart begins to open wider to include not only ourselves, but all those who live the truth of this suffering, who know its causes, and can begin to open rather than contract, to turn towards rather than away, to breathe into courage and compassion rather than hatred, aggression, the will or shut down. Just one more moment of fear, one more moment of suffering in which we can open. And as we fill ourselves with this love, this kindness, this compassion, this seeing and wisdom, naturally moves itself beyond the body, this heart, this mind, and fills the open space. And we can begin to direct these qualities then where most needed. We are nimble, we are flexible, we are completely open and spacious. These qualities are available to be directed wherever it is needed. And we begin with ourselves. May I be happy, truly happy. May I be free from mental and physical affliction. May I live with ease. May I remember who I really am and offer these loving arms of wisdom and compassion until the end of suffering. And in that open, spacious, courageous, and compassionate heart, we could include others. May you be happy, truly happy. May you be free from mental and physical affliction. May you live with ease. May you remember who you really are and rest in the goodness of your being until the end of suffering. We breathe in and nourish these qualities within ourselves, and we breathe out, and in its time, it naturally moves beyond the body and beyond our own hearts, minds, moving in all directions, filling that still and silent space. The bright light, the radiance, the luminosity of the awakened heart mind, touching all beings and all things. May we all be happy, truly happy. May we all be free from mental and physical affliction. May we all live with ease. May we all live within the refuge, the safety, the guard, the shelter, the protection of love and equanimity, wisdom and compassion, until all beings are free from suffering. until there is only this. The awakened heart-mind filling all space, making contact with all things, all beings. We commit and continue to practice until all beings are free. And may this practice contribute. Just taking a moment, opening the body, offering that kindness, that energy, that spaciousness. So here we are. The same conditions, right? Ever changing, ever moving, but the same conditions of groundlessness from which we began. Although hopefully now you can feel the way we can use that very groundlessness on the path, that it in fact is the path and the way as we cultivate these qualities towards not only then just the groundless in which we often simply feel distress, but the truth, our greater reality, the truth of our greater boundlessness. And I'm gonna see if I can't find a few notes about that. I wrote a few things down just to remind us, and see if I can locate that. There is something that I read that I really enjoyed in Inside LA. I rarely look at their posts, but I did, and I really loved what this young woman, Angelique, had to say, and I thought I would simply read it to you. So hang on for a moment, and then let's talk together about it. There is an infinite well of courageous love all around that we can tap into when needed. The endurance and stability of the ground under our very feet, the flexibility and steadiness of the trees sheltering you at all times, the teeming and rhythmic life force of the ocean in its wave, the vast spaciousness and patience and open space of the sky. They all have more than enough energy to share, as does our community, as does the truth of the Dharma, as does the truth of our capacities for complete awakening. We, in a compassionate presence, and in the cultivation of this, we are all reminded then we are stronger than we think, and together we will get through this. Together we are resilient, and she says here the big we of Team Humanity. has been here before. And so what do we do now? Go ahead and breathe that in. And so with that, one of my questions to you, the community, is how are you finding refuge? I happen to know for myself, I can say this boldly, that when I am not making contact, when I am not remembering through the practice, when I am not committing myself daily to the intentions to bring those very qualities of stability and spaciousness, of stillness to others, that I can easily get lost. Can't we all? We get caught up, right? We get carried away by those qualities and the distress, and then are in suffering in a way that is not of benefit to you, is not of benefit to those you care about, and certainly then not of benefit in time when we more critically, I think, out of that sense of groundlessness, need each other more than ever. And so I just want to hear from you. How are you working with this? Where are you finding refuge? Make these offerings, share your offerings, what you know about this other, because this is the beauty and the best of Sangha, how we each do that. We've named before, but I think today is a good day to remember what those are once again. Come on, say hello or write in chat, whatever feels workable for you.
Well, I'll break the silence, I suppose.
Thank you. Hi, Leanne. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My mom was, I just had a very, a lot this week from the hospital, all the stuff coming up with everything else. And I think I missed a couple days of practice, and I think I really noticed it, and I really noticed it in just my own being. So I really feel like it's something that I really have to stick to every day, and that is definitely a place of refuge for me. So I'm very grateful for this morning. I really needed this and needed all of you. So thank you.
Thank you. And I need you. So yes, that is a part of our human reality. We need each other because when I forget, you remember. And when you forget, you can be reminded by someone else's call, by someone else's stability, by someone else's love, by someone else's commitment to the practice, right? We go, that's right, that works. This is important, this is good. And we get a little enlivened energy, don't we? Like, okay, my commitment is shored up, my intention is stronger. And it isn't just simply from watching another, it's from feeling the truth of that in them, right? That we are reminded by the truth, like, wow, okay, I can be okay here. And yes, we do. Andy said a thing I knew would come, and Anthony as well. When we spend time in nature, we are then surrounded by the refuges of the 5 elements. We're surrounded by the truth of stillness, silence, and spaciousness. We remember, we rejoin with the qualities of that within us. And that's why nature can be such a beautiful source for those of us who can make contact with those truths in that way. By the way, it does not necessarily work that way for everyone. Not everyone feels that same contact or connection. Actually, there are people who are afraid of being out there, where that feels too open, a little too spacious. This is the truth of our own awakened quality. Like, It's a little too much for me. We did a retreat a couple years ago. I know some of you will remember this, where we could barely get our bare feet in the grass. We hadn't made contact with it enough that we literally, everybody freaked out and went, oh, there's snakes, and what if something bites me? And this is how we forget. We forget our true connection and interconnection with each other, so that what? The earth itself can become an enemy. Open space itself can become an enemy. And what? The other can become an enemy, because we have forgotten. We have forgotten. And the practice, like Leon says, the reason I practice is simply this, that I can remember the truth of interconnection, the truth of the refuge of the community, the truth that I, just like you, want safety, happiness, and freedom. That's right. So I've got a couple people here saying, Anthony, time at the ocean, listening and watching. Yes, watching for the truth of ever-present change and abiding. That's right. The ocean's beautiful for that, isn't it? Because it's so expansive. We don't get lost in the wave. And in fact, we can practice with that very movement. It's coming and going. The beauty of impermanence is right there without then our fear. Getting out in nature, yep. Even for a few seconds, that's exactly right. We get out and look at the sky, open our arms up, swing them around. This is important and good for us. Beach walks, yep. Puppy licks, that's for sure, Tanya. Qigong practice, yes, in movement, in choreographed movement, and then sometimes natural movement. Dancing, for the same reason, by the way, can be a beautiful source of remembering, re-embodying, remembering who we are, but not being lost or caught in it, and grabbing, right? We're not in contraction as we are walking, as we are doing Qigong, as we are dancing. As we are resting in the open, spacious nature of ourselves and the nature around us. Volunteering and service work, that's right, we open the heart in this way. I have to tell you, I have been repeating the refuge vows and the Bodhisattva vow, which is filled with a commitment to not only myself, but to others, and reminder about the capacities both in myself and in others. And that has felt really necessary and important to me in these last few, particularly the last week, I would say. Yes, thank you very much. A lot of people, I'm hearing almost everyone say right now, I think I'm done with the news. I think I'm done with the numbers. I think I'm done because I'm noticing that no matter what news you're looking at, it is not only fact, it is bias, it is prejudice, it is perspective taking, it is fear creating, I have to say. I've really been taking issue with CNN lately, which is one I glance at because of the headlines with the, and I'm like, it's not helpful at this point. It is true that we do need to pay attention. We do need to know the facts. We do need to respond, and it is for that purpose. But responding, beginning right in your own yard, and then in your own backyard, and then the guy whose yard you're touching is very appropriate and right. Whatever you can do there, being with friends in that way, remembering that we're all feeling like this can sometimes be helpful. But I like the consume less media. I think it's been true of all of us. I've noticed that the less I'm there, the more I can feel into what is available to do. How can I respond most lovingly, just right here and right now, without the idea that I've got to solve an entire world's problem that begins here with me. Look around with new eyes, gratitude, like others said, especially in nature. That's where we make often great contact. I'd like us to take that contact with nature and then bring it in to the community in some way. So if you're out in nature, stop at the store get a drink and breathe that spaciousness, that goodness, that care, that kindness onto all those others. Offer those blessings every day. Do so formally. Every person you see, you say, may you be well. May you have what is needed. May you be safe. May you have ease. That's an on-the-spot essential loving kindness and compassion practice. I'd like us all to take that on a little more, especially now when we're looking for reds or blues. We're looking for that name, that party, that person. I really need us all, we need us all to open that door wider. I asked my family, for example, in the last week, to stop referencing the others, that this was ultimately creating divisiveness, distress, and ultimately will breed fear, we're done with that, those guys or this party or that perspective, that we've all got to work a little bit harder to see the common humanity, the we in us all, rather than the us and themness of it. There's only fear that can be the result of that. Only fear can be the result of that. And we are doing it really amazingly to ourselves, and we need to stop. And so that's a commitment. Let's stop now. No we, just we, no them. We all want to be happy. We all want to be safe. We all are afraid of the other guys, right? Isn't this crazy? Everybody's going, oh, them. They're going to shoot it up. They're going to, and everybody's got a them, no matter who you are. So can we practice letting go of the them for the we? Doing the practice is chopping wood. Yes, it is. Spade work, I like to call that. Warms you when you do it, warms you as you burn it. That's exactly right. And is good for cultivating qualities of strength and patience, isn't it? Both. A road trip, just getting out and opening one's eyes to whatever is new, new eyes, right? Even if you're going down the same old street. Yes, thank you. Chop wood, carry water. This is our practice. This is essential. If you are not practicing, I want you to write me. Why? What are you doing? If you're watching TV, turn it off. If you're just distressing, bake some cookies, give them to the neighbors. I really, we're only immobilized by our fear. We are not activated in any way that turns out to be useful. So be watchful of your own tendencies right now, and your own closing, your own shutting down, your own, the curtains get pulled, the covers get drawn, we hide under the bed and hope it goes away. Well, it's not going away. It's never true. It never goes away. We transform and transmute is all. And so we better show up for that. If we're hoping somebody else is going to take care of it, who? Who do you have in mind? I have you in mind. Who were you thinking was going to heal this? Right. Right. We keep waiting for someone else. There is no one else. It is you and me. And we can do this and affect positive change and qualities. Nature definitely heals. I also just remembered the larger, deep turning of the world, the karmic, yes. And that I had resolved to flow with that, not fight or go, flee it. Why me? Why me? That's right. So that was a form of refuge. That's right. That we open ourselves to the truth for all of us. That is an opening and a source of refuge for sure. Today, noticing the proximity, the place of refuge is to the place of the grip in my own body. Good for you, Lisa. Reminds me I can move from one to the other if I breathe into the stillness. That's right. We can breathe right into the tight space, right into the grip, and hold it in the open space until that tension, that tightness resolves. And we don't force it, right? We don't tear open the bloom. We just let it open, as you saw today in the practice. It was right there. Music, that's exactly right. Lifts us, yes. It's beautiful to open to other rhythms, natural rhythms that are in the world. Beautiful, everyone. Yes, mindfully preparing meals. Yes, we'll be making some fun things today. We're in a comfort food mode in my family. We are making an old Southern recipe of macaroni and cheese. That's just another way to do it. That was a request today. Could you make macaroni and cheese? And of course, there's all kinds of amazing, beautiful recipes out there for that. But making something that equals love for you. My grandmother used to cut the crust off of my toast. And when I think of that, I think of that essential love. She could have been doing 1,000 other things. And she took that time to cut that crust off of my toast. Just dramatically loving. And if we can do it in a loving way, that's the essence of it, because out of your loving heart, that nourishment of that goes into the food and then goes to others. Whether they eat it or don't isn't even really the point at all, is it? It's that I can offer this fellowship, a love, protection, nourishment to you. And I hope today at Halloween, whatever else you offer, and I think there'll be less candy, which I think is no problem, but how do you offer the sweetness then of you in this day? And think about that. I think that could be a beautiful intention on a Halloween day. Really resolving all evil, resolving all fear. Besides Diana and the Sangha being a huge refuge, yes, spending time with the kitties, yes, pets is a refuge, animals, because she is only in this moment. That's right. Much gratitude. Wonderful. The same to you, Shivam. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Isn't it true? Isn't it true? We are. And at the end of the day, Carrie says, we can endure much more than we think we can. Yes, we can, with that open and awakened heart mind. There's room enough. There is room enough for it all. Truly, for it all. I hope you can feel that a little bit today. And watch the mind. Watch where the mind goes and protect the mind. Don't let your mind spin out recklessly, heedlessly. That's the point of our mindfulness practice, isn't it? So that we can find our way home to these sources of refuge again and again. And they are always here and always available. I practice every day because I have a really pathetic forgetting mind. I forget when I don't practice where the points of refuge are. I forget to look. I forget to see them. I forget that they're in me. I forget that they're around me. And I see only the enemy, only the fear mongering. We forget to look and begin again, first and always with you. Stabilize you, balance you, nourish you, so that you can then be available. In this way. Really right now in these next few days, let's commit to this completely. Whatever else you're doing, forget the dust bunnies under your sofa. Go help somebody else with theirs. Let's sit together for a few moments. Thank you all for those beautiful offerings and suggestions. I'll let you know how that macaroni and cheese goes. And, really the food is simply one of the forms, isn't it? The trees, the ocean, the pets, they're all simply there as constant reminders about our interconnectedness, about the preciousness of it all. Right, of it all. My neighbor at the end of the block who has argued with me on occasion. I've mentioned him before. Has the most beautiful dog, and has, I think it's called a Aussie Doodle. And it has one blue eye and one brown eye. And every time I see him walk by, no matter what, we can join around the love of this pet, who is always soft and always loving. And we can become more soft and loving as we turn towards that ourselves. Finding the refuge of the earth, the sky, the open space, the warmth of the sun, the air we breathe. And we can then towards ourselves, turning into the truth of our commitment to awakening, the commitment to be a benefit, the commitment to not cause harm. We rest in the truth of this precious human life, the truth of our essential, fundamental, immutable interconnection. And that we cannot be free, we cannot be happy, and we cannot have ease while others are suffering. And it is so evident. It is so evident here. And so we commit more fully, we intention the practice each day. Remember, we're doing 60 breaths no matter what. And remember, if you cannot get to that, you're calling me, you're writing me, you're online, you're doing whatever you need to do so that we can get to the practice every day. An essential source of refuge, our own awakened heart minds. And may we gather this, all the wealth, all the benefits, all the sources of refuge. May we gather this and offer it to the end of suffering. And the realization and the promise of true, abiding, unending, undying happiness and freedom. May we offer this to ourselves. With the in-breath, breathe it in, fill yourself up to the brim. And what you'll notice naturally happens right here in the breath is that it finds its way beyond. And then we breathe it out, sending it. To all those with whom we share this earth, with whom we share this life, with whom we share this essential humanness and vulnerability. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all rejoice at our blessings. May we fill ourselves with gratitude. And may we offer ourselves from this abundance to others. May we rest and dwell just as we did in the practice today, in the great arms, in the wide open space of love, compassion, wisdom, and equanimity. Wider and wider, bigger and bigger, deeper and deeper, till all the world fits in. And may this be a very good and sweet Halloween day and evening. May we share that sweetness with our own stable, minds, open hearts, and bright, brilliant smiles. And may it be so this very day. So be it. Good to see you all. Have a really wonderful day. It looks like somebody's making dog treats. That sounds like a quite a lovely thing to be sharing. How wonderful is that? Everyone is offering safe blessings. Thank you all so much. Enjoy this day. Enjoy the refuge. Keep looking for them. You will see them everywhere. Not only in you, but keep looking. You will see them in others as well. Okay, have a wonderful day. Mwah, to you all. We will be sending out at least an email. We're having trouble with constant contact, but we'll be sending out an email, and in that email, we will be including our upcoming yoga opportunity. And I think we're planning for next week. Is Liz on here? Can I, Liz, before you click off, just so I write it down right tomorrow, is it next week that we're going to try it?
We talked about starting next week, Diana, and we can do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So we will be stopping at 8:30. We'll practice, talk for a moment, and then go into at 8:30. Practice for at least 30 minutes. And then maybe I was thinking, Liz, we could do a little savasana at the end of that 30 minutes, and people who can't stay on, for that extra will just go on to do whatever they need to do, something like that, maybe. And thank you. Thank you so much for that beautiful offering.
Yeah,
and
looking forward to it.
willingness, Liz. I appreciate you and all of you, by the way. That'll come out in the email while we're working our newsletter issues out. Oh, yeah. Andy's just named another source of refuge for him, practicing contemplative photography, seeing the beauty in things. Yes. Yes. Love to all of you. May you all be well and safe and happy today. Breathe in the sweetness of this life. Enjoy. I'll see you all soon, Monday night at 7:30. I'll look forward to seeing you then.